this constitute legal advice or financial advice or whatsoever. I am just telling you about how I think and what I've done, what I'm doing, and what other ways that I think we can really maintain and increase the family standard of living as Black people in our individual households. Hi there you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anga, and if you're new here, thank you for checking this video out. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Everyone in this country has had the term black tax. Whether it impacts you directly or not, you know it exists. In this video, I'm going to be going through 6 strategies to adopt in order to decrease the long-term impact of black tax. Now, what do I mean by long-term impact of black tax? Today, you're responsible for sending 5,000 home, right? Your peers are investing that 5,000. In 10-15 years, the difference is going to be evident. So even though you feel that at this point it's just 5,000 Rand, I can help, I can be kind, I can be loving, if you don't prioritize your future as well as helping the people that you need to in the present, you're going to become resentful. You're not going to move in life the way that you deserve to. So these strategies I developed to help myself, and I hope you also benefit from them. There are difficult conversations to be had alongside with them, but I think they're quite practical. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. The point I'm going to get into is insurance. It's a difficult conversation, it's a hard conversation, because for a lot of people it almost feels like you're betting on someone's death. But that's not what insurance is about, and we all know it. Not long ago, people had stigma against funeral policies. Funeral policy are one of the highest taken insurance products in the country, meaning we can change our attitudes towards certain financial products to create wealth and to create ease in the future. Now, the first point I'm going to get into is you know your family. You know who has what, who doesn't have what, who takes care of what, who doesn't take care of what. If you have parents that are primarily responsible for a lot of people in your household and they don't have life insurance, you have every reason to insure their life if you feel and you know that should something happen to them, you would be required to take that responsibility. Yes, you're not hoping on your parents to die, but in an event that they do, if you have younger siblings, you would need to take care of them. And if your parents do not have life insurance or any pension funds that have quite matured to a point that if something were to happen to them, you would be able to take that and take care of your younger siblings or whoever your parents are taking care of, please insure their life. Please insure their life. Now, it's always a debate whether that's a conversation you have, that's a conversation you don't have. My piece is that's a conversation you have. It's going to be a difficult one, but you explain your reason. Your reason is, I understand my responsibility should something happen to you, and I want to be able to partake in that. I want to be able to maintain the family and protect the family's financial standards, to protect ourselves, and in order to do that, I have to make sure I have money to do that. Let's get into the second way to try and mitigate the long negative impact of black tax. Now this is one that I have stories to tell, and I've seen it pin out, and I've seen the children of these people who do not take this with stride suffer. So the advice is, again, like I mentioned, none of this constitute legal advice or financial advice or whatsoever. I am just telling you about how I think and what I've done, what I'm doing, and what other ways that I think we can really maintain and increase the family standard of living as Black people in our individual households. Do not overinvest where you're not ripping off the returns. So I'll make an example. I will dive deep into this because as someone who grew up in the rural areas, I saw this a lot of times, right? You live in a big city, it's you and your kids. You think, oh, building back at home is much more affordable. I'm gonna go home, there's already a piece of land that I have, or there's a land that's cheaper. I can get it for like cheap amount than in Joburg. I'm gonna go ahead and go build a 5-bedroom for my kids into somebody else's land, to a land that's owned by you and your siblings, in hopes that if something happens to you, that becomes your children's home. It does not usually work out that way. So stop it. Just stop. Start by investing in yourself, in your kids, in your immediate family, and try to keep a room for kindness, a room for giving. Giving is not sending someone through varsity and struggling when you're not ripping off benefits. That's not giving. That's horrible investments. And I've seen people do this. I've seen people, now I believe in help your family. You know, if someone needs 10K to register them, right? But don't be that person who pays 5 years of varsity fees for a person that you're not ripping off the benefits of. Unless that 100K a year is really change for you. Then, you know, you can treat it like a gift because it's change, right? But if you know for a fact that taking that amount of money from your savings or from your income is a real strain, it's not an investment. Don't do it. It sounds mean, it sounds ridiculous. There are other ways that you can invest in those people. You can invest in helping them acquire funding, get funding. You can invest in making sure they get nurses. You can invest in helping them study and pass in record time. You can invest, and if you ever find yourself in a position where you have to pay 30K, 50K, 70, 100K for someone's university fees that you do not benefit from, make sure there's a contract at hand for that money to be repaid back to you so that it can be used to build your wealth that benefits your children in the future, not everyone else. Now, I get it. You can be like, well, but my siblings, I would help my siblings any day. I would pay for them till I have nothing left. But that's because with my 2 siblings, I directly benefit from whatever happens to them, right? And above anything, I will be doing that for my mom more than them. I mean, I do that for them, but also for my mom because she's done it for me. So that's a different thing. But I wouldn't go to someone else in our family who there's no benefit that I can see for myself or for my family, or some elevation, or me being elevated from certain responsibilities, and go and invest 100K to a year. No, don't do it. You're not Mother Teresa. That's not your job. That's not your role. I mean, of course, if you have residuals, please help people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying differentiate between helping and giving and investing. Don't over-invest where you're not reaping off any benefits. The third thing to cover is obviously funeral expenses. Now, more people in our days have funeral policies, so for the most part, you probably don't really have to care about this one. But for your immediate family, I would say to get funeral policies for everyone, just because your contribution is going to matter more. So, and you're probably going to be the ones hosting the funeral, so the expenses that may not be covered by that person's funeral policy may fall onto you. Now, there's certain expenses that you can avoid, there are certain ones that you can't. So just try and estimate what kind of expenses you would not be able to avoid and insure accordingly. Again, I'm not a huge fan of insuring everyone you know, unless you do it for other reasons, but you don't have to do that, because in those cases you could just contribute 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand towards helping that immediate family, or like that, just family. Otherwise, yeah, make sure the people that will cost you if they would die are insured. Don't be the pick up the bill guy. No, don't do it. Like, don't do it every time we're going out, every time something is happening that needs money. You volunteer, don't do it. We are habits of creatures. The fifth time, they're going to expect it out of you. So sit there like everyone, keeping quiet, and let everyone pay their shares. Sometimes do take the bill. That's nice. Don't make it a habit though. Don't be that guy who anyone who's out of cash flow gets cash flow from you. And you can regulate that. If someone wants 500 Rands from you, you can like give them 100 Rands. Even though you have the 500, give them, evaluate why they need it and give them 100 Rands. For no apparent reason. It's regulations, it's boundary creation, right? And then next time they need 1,000 Rand, say I don't have it. Even though you have it, you evaluate the necessity, like, oh, this could really wait, so I don't have the money. Even though you could give them the money, you do that to create boundaries. But at the same time, you want your family to know that they can depend on you. So when it's something that is important or that matters, give. Obviously, you're not going to treat your entire extended family the same way as you treat your immediate. I have certain cousins that if they were to send me a text and be like, I need 10,000, and I had it, I'll send it to them without even asking why. Why? Because I know I'll get it back. Two, I know who they are. I've seen them deal with money, and so on and so on and so on. There are cousins who have asked me 10,000 Rand, even if I had it, I would never give them, because you know who they are, right? So make sure you're fully regulating that. Don't act like an ATM. You're not an ATM. Help people with resources more than you help with money. If someone wants to, they failed matric, they last went to school 5 years ago, they want to go back to school, they're free resources. Government does that for free for you. Now, finishing schools are much more popular. So you would say to the person, no, I'm not going to pay for you finishing school. But rather, if you really are serious about rewriting matric, here are the resources. Here's how you can register to do it at any district office. This is how you could register to do it at a certain center. You need transport for you to go do that. Here's 50 bucks. Go do that. Because you're not acting like an ATM, but you're still helpful and resourceful to your family. The other thing is, I cannot stress this enough to every young person listening. Prioritize your future. Prioritize the children you want to have. Prioritize the life you want to have over helping everyone. Because a hard reality we have to accept as Black individuals, we're not going to change everyone's life. That's it. You're not going to do it. I mean, unless you make Bill Gates money or Patrice Motsepe money, or you start making proper millions in this country, you're not going to change everyone's life. Even with people I know who are proper millionaires, who are Black, they've not changed everyone's life, even when they wanted to, because a huge part of changing someone's life is them wanting to be changed or wanting change. You're not gonna do it. Just because you work, just because you have a job, just because you have a degree, just because you have a business, doesn't mean everyone you know is gonna stop suffering. So there's certain suffering that you have to look and say, I'm gonna help you with groceries. There's one you have to look and say, none of my business. There's one you have to look and say, I'm gonna pray for y'all. Don't be the Jesus of your family. You're not gonna change everyone's life. Be helpful, be resourceful, be kind, be caring, but don't be Jesus. You're not gonna be Jesus. You're not gonna change everyone's life. It's unlikely. So prioritize your ability to progress. Make sure that you're still creating a room for the family you want. Because if you working also means you don't progress the way you want to, or the way you put in the hard work should result into, then you're going to become resentful towards the people you're helping, and that's not good. Because you're going to think you should engineer the outcome. Like if you're helping someone through varsity, they can't fail, or because you're making so much sacrifice to do that. Be helpful, help where you can, but if it means you don't have a life, it means your savings are getting depleted, if it means you're unable to invest for your future kids, maybe just call it no. Be okay with the fact that you can't help and call it quits. Otherwise, black tax is a huge thing in this country because obviously our history. But I think it can be managed better than we do. I think I've seen people mismanage that because you start working, you start being included in everything in your home, especially with people who grew up feeling like they were not valuable or their opinion didn't matter, and then they have money and all of a sudden what they have to say matters. Those people can easily get manipulated into situations. So if you're one of those people, be very, very careful. I see this especially amongst male, because unfortunately a lot of people have decided that it's not valuable to raise boys and to value them just for being boys. And some parents are manipulative to their male kids and they want to treat them like they're male figure sources and whatever not. And that boy is sort of like not considered anything if they don't have. And the moment they do have, it's like, now you're valuable, now your opinion matters, which I understand because you're contributing, but also don't take that to head. Like, don't take that to your head. Don't personalize that. Don't make it be like your ego booster, because trust me, you will have horrible attachment issues. Attachment issues in that case will most likely show up in the way that you are seeking approval to everyone. So whoever needs anything, you're the it guy, you're helpful, you're doing everything for them, even at the cost of your own kids, of your own family, or even the future that you want to have if you're a young grad. So make sure that you're helpful to your family, but make sure you're putting good boundaries to make sure that your personal progress isn't stopped in the process of doing that. So there you have it, guys. I hope this video was insightful. If you have any story to share about your black experience and what made you create more boundaries, feel free to share it down below. If there's anything that you definitely want to add, feel free to share it down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next video. Again, don't forget, I post videos around money, university, exams, studying, life, and all. So don't miss out. I love you, lovers, and I hope you have a good one. Cheers. Hey, you. Why are you leaving without subscribing? Subscribe to your life journey with Anga. For more content, make sure you are notified every time by clicking on that notification.